today we're going to be looking at the C.R.A.P Box from Unmanned Tech. C.R.A.P standing for Curated Yet Random Assortment of Products. This is their sort of mystery box they do each month. This is the second box. I'll put a link up here to the previous month. And I've decided to continue getting these because I was really impressed with the first one we got. For those of you who didn't see, it's a one-off box you buy each month, so you can buy them when you want them, and each month has a theme. They are different from the other boxes that are around because effectively they are purely focused on functional things. So you should be getting stuff that's always to do with building mini quads, FPV, drones, and those types of things. They are not planning on putting things like t-shirts and hats and the other stuff. So this is very much focused on being a useful box for people to use. And as they use they are trying to make sure that Paul, what are you doing? Okay, so let's see what's in the box. So, inside the box is a letter from Happy Models and Unmanned Tech talking about all the parts that are in the box. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, so I am going to read this last, but I'll talk about what's in it when we get to the review section. But it's quite nice, because it actually tells you what everything is and what's actually going on with it. So that is a really good thing. Okay, so what have we got? So, we have, and given this box is themed around Tinywhoops, I'm not surprised by some of the things that are in here, but they are pretty cool. So we've got a B-Core BL, so that's an F3-1S flight controller for a Tinywhoop. So that is pretty good. It's got all the mounting hardware and all the cables, so that's a really, and actually all the different variety of power cables, so that is really very useful. And that looks like a brushless flight controller, so that is a good place to start. So really happy with that. Then we've got a frame, so this is, I couldn't tell you what type of frame this is, I'm not that knowledgeable on my Tinywhoop frames, but I can tell by the motor mounts that it's a brushless motor, so that's pretty cool. Obviously you've got your underslung place for your battery, etc. So it's I'll look up and I'll be able to tell what this actually is, but it's definitely a frame for a Tinywhoop, so that's really good. We've got some antenna tubes and some mounting hardware for your quad. These are actually quite useful because I've actually just run out of antenna tubes, so having some of these is really handy. I probably won't use the 3D printed pieces because generally my quads I've already got nice 3D printed pieces anyway, but these are not bad things to have around, so that's quite a nice little selection of goodies. So we've got our selection of stickers, so you can stick them onto your gear, etc. So we've got a Happy Models body with all the associated screws on there, so a little canopy with the mounting for the camera in there as well, so that's pretty good. We've got a nice little set of props to go with that, so they are the right size props and nice red ones, so that's cool. We've got a little FPV camera, so effectively we're getting all the gear to build this up into a fully working quad. So yeah, that's it's a transmitter, it's the full gear, so effectively it's a transmitter, camera and antenna, so it does all of the things, so that's really, really useful. And then finally, we've got in this little box here, we've got some little motors. So we've got some, and they are brushless, tiny little motors. So these are the, is there any information on the box? I'll have to look at the paperwork, but they are 19,000 kV 0603s. So they are quite nice, and I think they come with all the mounting hardware. So, what's in the box? And the answer is a Tinywhoop in its entirety. I think the only thing I can't see is a receiver, but that's quite good because a receiver will be specific to you, because you will have either FrSky, you could have FlySky, you could have Spectrum. So in real terms, that's not too bad. So let's go and review the costs of this box. Okay, so let's talk about what's in the box. Well, first of all, I need to make apologies. If I'd have actually read the really nice letter from Unmanned Tech and Happy Model, who have provided all the parts for this build this month, I'd have known that what I'd said was antenna tubes and various bits and pieces 3D printing is actually a little Tinywhoop gate, which is quite nice. So this is a really nice touch because it actually tells you everything that's in the box. It explains what they've done and why they've done it, which is great because they actually set themselves the challenge of being able to deliver a whole product in one box, and it's absolutely amazing they've managed to do all of that. They've also done, which is quite nice, and it's referenced in here, that they're doing a special discount for people who have bought the box to be able to get a discount on receivers and on batteries. Now, I have, like, loads of batteries, so that's not a massive problem, and I actually have an XM Plus receiver floating around, so I've wired all that up. But overall, I mean, I have now built my own little Tinywhoop. So the only thing I needed to provide was a receiver for that, and I bound that up and made it work, and it works pretty well. In fact, after this video, there is another video which will talk about how you build this and a little bit of flying footage. So please check that out afterwards. So what they've done is actually made it very difficult for me to score this box, because effectively all the individual parts make. Effectively, there's one product, really, at the end of this, or two, a gate and a quad. So it makes it very difficult to score. So what I've gone through is I've totaled up the price of all the individual parts, and I've also scored them individually as I would anyway. And what we end up with is effectively some scores that sort of... the way I've done it from a usefulness perspective is like, the really good parts are given sort of 9s. The props are a little bit lower because it'd be nice to have a couple more, but that's nitpicking of the highest order. The flight controller is great. It does everything it needs to do. There's no issues in the flight controller and ESCs. The motors are absolutely fine. I think if there was one thing, if I could have had a few more pounds spent on it, which I'm not going to ask for because I think the value is incredible in this box, would have been the camera and VTX, simply because the fact that if you could have had smart audio in there, that would have just been perfect. So the only letdown on here is that this hasn't got smart audio, which is literally the only criticism I can throw at this moment in time. So yeah, this box effectively comes in at, so the total value of the box once you get them shipped is £43 to get it delivered. The total value of the box works out as £67.35, which means you get for every pound you spend, you get £1.55's worth of value. So that's spot on where it needs to be. I'm really happy with that. And also the usefulness, I've considered it to be very useful because it's got all the parts you need in it, and it's also very cool because building a whole quad out of one box is very, very impressive. What I've also started to do is I am going to put a link in, so I've done a separate spreadsheet now for the C.R.A.P boxes, so those are now available and the link will be underneath, so you can get all this data, and I'm going to be capturing it as I go forward, as I have been for the drone bit boxes. I'm also going to put the URLs in there so effectively you can go and see the videos that link to it if you want to see what actually happened or know exactly what we've got. So I've now made a little spreadsheet which compares the C.R.A.P Box 1 and C.R.A.P Box 2. I'm going to sort out my naming conventions because I call them this one the December box because it arrived in December, whereas Unmanned Tech call it the November box. So I will match to what they're doing from next video onwards. But when you look and compare their value, they're really offering some really good value in this box. I'm really impressed. In fact, the only thing I'm concerned by is how they're going to improve on this for the next box, because they've set a pretty high bar for themselves. So anyway, I have done a video about building this, so I'll edit that and put that out as well at the same time. So if you're interested in how to build one of these, I'll talk you through it. The only thing you need to have is an additional receiver, and a soldering iron and a very small screwdriver, and you can basically build this whole thing. So that's really, really good, and I'll share that afterwards. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed this video, and please like, share, and subscribe. I'm got a load of content coming. It's just taking a little while to edit. I've been ill and I'm away with work a lot, so it's not quite so easy. So please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.